Hey everyone, welcome to KSSP Podcast. I am Spencer.
And I'm Katie. Today we are talking about psychedelics. And I just want to start off with a little disclaimer here. We don't encourage illicit drug use, but we do understand that people illicitly use drugs. So we're just going to give some personal advice today based off of past experiences that we've had and also some data that we're going to bring up. So let's start off with what kind of drugs are hallucinogens? Well, hallucinogens include LSD, mescaline, psilocybin, which are mushrooms, PCP, cannabis, ecstasy, ketamine, and salvia. All of these drugs are different from each other, and the safer ones would be LSD, psilocybin, cannabis, and mescaline. So, Nature.com says that clinical trials have now been conducting at leading universities, and a growing body of evidence supports the use of psychedelics such as psilocybin and MDMA in the treatment of depression, post traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety towards the end of life. I'll pass it on to Spencer.
Yes, so with that, I have a couple of studies here that were done on cancer patients using psilocybin. So I'm just going to share my screen briefly here. So the National Cancer Institute clinical trials using psilocybin. So this is just saying that they're supported. So it looks like it looks like they've done four. So psilocybin assisted therapy for the treatment of demoralization in patients receiving hospice care, the PATH study. So this phase 2 trial tests whether psilocybin assisted therapy works to treat demoralization in patients receiving hospice care. Demoralization is a form of existential suffering characterized by a sense of helplessness, hopelessness, and loss of meaning and purpose in life, which leads to a higher anxiety and depression, increased perception of physical symptoms, and lower quality of life in patients and caregivers. Psilocybin is a naturally occurring hallucinogenic drug produced by mushrooms, which is manufactured for medical use. Psilocybin induces intense short-term changes in sensory perception, how patients see, hear, and feel things, emotion, thought, and sense of self. This effect, when experienced in a supportive medical context, is safe and may produce positive effects on the mood and spiritual well-being in people with serious illness, struggling with anxiety, depression, and/or demoralization. I'm just going to click it and see if it... So then I guess it looks like they do it in Boston. And then I don't know if they have any... I'm not seeing any like results yet. But so that's one of them. And then we have psilocybin enhanced group psychotherapy in patients with cancer, the HOPE study. This early phase 1 trial studies side effects and feasibility of giving psilocybin in a group setting in patients with cancer. Psilocybin is a natural product produced by numerous species of psilocybe mushrooms. It is known as a hallucinogen, and it has potential for creating positive behavior changes in a variety of psychiatric conditions. This study aims to see whether psilocybin is safe to be part of group therapy. And this one, where are they doing this one? Salt Lake City.
Interesting.
And then, so psilocybin combined with multidisciplinary palliative care in demoralized cancer survivors with chronic pain. This phase 1 trial evaluates the side effects of psilocybin and how well it works under supportive care conditions in cancer survivors living with demoralization and chronic pain. Cancer patients often experience demoralization, which is characterized by feelings of hopelessness, loss of meaning, and existential distress. Psilocybin psychotherapy, together with supportive care, may help treat the anxiety, depression, and chronic pain felt by cancer survivors. This one, let's see where you are. Atlanta. And then we'll look at the last one here. Palliadelic treatment for the reduction of psychological distress and improve quality of life in patients with unresectable pancreatobiliary cancers. This phase 1 trial tests the effects of an investigational drug, psilocybin, in conjunction with supportive counseling for the reduction of psychological distress and improvement of quality of life in patients with pancreatobiliary cancers, pancreas and liver that cannot be removed by surgery unresectable. Psilocybin is a naturally occurring substance found in some mushrooms. It is a psychedelic substance that has strong mood and perception altering effects during the time it is active in the body. Recent research suggests that it may improve distress, such as worry, fear, sadness, or despair associated with having serious cancer. Psilocybin may improve psychological distress and the quality of life of patients with unresectable pancreatobiliary cancers. And this one, I just want to see where it's at too. It is in Omaha.
Oh,
So, I guess I'm not seeing any results, but I swear at one like I swear there was a study where they did see improvement, like in a different psilocybin cancer study.
yeah.
But it's just also interesting to see like the studies that you mentioned too. Just
Mhm.
that I'm really excited to kind of see what the research is able to or able to show, because I do think that it's a lot more helpful than we know or give it credit for.
I agree. Yeah. And even if you aren't using psychedelics for medicinal reasons, you can still use them for a spiritual or recreational purpose, or a combination of all these things. The best way to use psychedelics is with a specialized therapist, but if you don't have that option, make sure you have someone with you who isn't on psychedelics that can watch you if it's your first time using them, because everyone reacts differently to them.
And then also on top of that, I just kind of wanted to show that there are psychedelic retreats. So I'm going to just share my screen here again. Let's see here. This is just the 9 best, and of course they're luxury psychedelic wellness. So I don't think they're going to be cheap, unfortunately. But so psychedelics like psilocybin and ayahuasca have been shown to improve mental health and wellness, often ceremonial. A retreat center can bring the best and much needed rest and rejuvenation too. As pandemic and climate related cases of depression skyrocket, a growing number of people are turning to psilocybin mushrooms, ketamine, LSD, MDMA, and ayahuasca, among others, for a new way approach to healing. A study published by Johns Hopkins found that psychedelic treatment, along with psychotherapy, may mitigate symptoms of depression for as long as a year. It's an advancement in how we approach mental health and well being. As many as 30% of patients diagnosed with depression don't respond to conventional pharmaceutical treatments. To that end, psychedelic retreats are popping up around the globe. So, what is a psychedelic retreat? Substances, healing sessions, and practitioner styles vary widely, but generally speaking, psychedelic retreats are set in environments that facilitate personal connections with nature as well as allow quiet space for the administering of substances. Retreats may work with shamans, indigenous people, trained in plant or fungi medicines that may be part of their lineage. Other retreats may see more modern therapists and licensed practitioners helming the substance ceremonies. Most all retreats incorporate integration periods between and after the psychedelics have been administered. When looking for a psychedelic retreat, there are many options for most every budget, and while many people may choose to leave their city and head to a more lush, remote part of the world, there are a growing number of centers and practitioners doing this work in major cities, too. So, are they legal? While a growing number of cities and one U.S. state so far have decriminalized psychedelics, in Oregon's case, therapeutic psilocybin isn't just decriminalized, it's legal. They're generally illegal under the Controlled Substances Act, but that's just the US. Around the world, a few countries do allow the use of certain psychedelic substances. These include the Netherlands and Jamaica for psilocybin, as well as Mexico. There are legal protections for ayahuasca too, in countries including Brazil, Costa Rica, Italy, Mexico, Colombia, and Peru.
You keep saying ayahuasca funny.
Ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca.
So, let's look at some of these luxury retreats, and these are going to be the psilocybin. So, Michael Meditations in Jamaica.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Synthesis in the Netherlands.
that looks pretty
That,
too.
that would be nice.
At
The
least
Buena Vida psilocybin retreat in Mexico. That looks kind of cool, like unique. I like it.
yeah.
The Mushroom Tao, the Thea retreats in Costa Rica. Silo Wellness in Jamaica. And then How do you say it then?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca retreats. Solterra Healing Center in Costa Rica.
Ooh.
We have Ayahuasca. I I can't. How do you say it again?
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca Foundation in Peru. Rhythmia in Costa Rica.
Ooh.
Spirit Vine Retreat Center in Brazil. And that's so, yeah. I just kind of wanted to show that there are definitely retreats that you can look into. And I guess they said there are some in, I guess I haven't heard of any in specific city, but I guess Oregon might have a couple now that they did. And I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado too started allowing like people to set them up. I don't remember if their law made it legal or just
I think it
decriminalized it. I'm not
criminalized
sure.
it.
Okay. I guess it would just depend on if how it decriminalized it and how like if they let people open up a retreat center. It would be beautiful in Colorado though. Like in Estes Park or somewhere. That would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, piece of advice here. I think the best way to have a good trip is to just go with the flow. Don't fight the feelings that arise. Allow yourself to feel everything, and it will be okay. For me personally, psychedelics in the past helped me to reframe my thinking in a positive manner, reduce my anxiety, and feel connected as one with the universe, pretty much. It helped me build up more empathy and confidence in myself.
Yeah, so I would definitely agree with that in the past I it has helped with just being more open-minded, and I think for me it just kind of made me, because obviously it's a completely different experience than what we experience normally, like just with how it affects your brain.
Yeah, it
So
makes you more neuroplastic.
yeah, but even just for me, the visuals, even it's like a lot to take in, because when you're looking at a wall you see a wall, but when if you're on a psychedelic, sometimes you can see visuals and the wall is moving and you see patterns that move, which we don't see normally. So to me, that was just something that, because that doesn't mean that it like it isn't not happening right now though. It's just I'm not perceiving it. I'm not perceiving that reality, if you
Yeah,
will. So to me, that is just kind of mind opening that there are things that are part of our reality that we don't necessarily always perceive. And that was, I don't know, it wasn't hard for me, like it was a little hard for me to accept, but it also was really good that I was able to think like that and come up with that thought and incorporate that into, like I feel like that really helped me, I guess I would say, become more open-minded and just feel more like I could connect with any, and I guess for me it also helped me feel like I could connect with people. Like I think that's honestly what kind of had me sort of feel like that consciousness theory type idea is just that we're all one consciousness. Like I think that sort of made me feel like that, but not in a bad way, in like a good way. Like I feel connected, more empathetic, and I feel like I can connect with that. Like we are all, I mean, even at the end of the day, whether or not our consciousnesses are actually connected, we are all still a human. Like that. I mean, we're all going to have different experiences, but we're all still humans.
yeah,
So that's something that can connect us, or it should be able to connect us, because we are all the same species.
yeah,
So
and we're made out of the same stuff. So,
yeah, that too. I mean, but at that point, like the desk is made out of the same thing as me
I
too.
think you're
I
talking
mean,
atomically.
aren't desks made out
They're
of?
not made out of flesh.
Well, no, but I mean, I guess maybe. Like, aren't other things made out of carbon though too? We're not
Yeah,
the only
no,
things made out of carbon,
anything
are
with
we? Oh,
waste is
okay.
made out of carbon.
Okay. You had me confused for a second. I was like, wait a second, is my whole reality wrong again? And then I just have one more. Psychedelics open the mind from Psychology Today. Psilocybin boosts openness to experience. Um, so we can just read it here. I always thought there was something psychedelic about Apple products. In an interview with New York Times reporter John Markoff, Steve Jobs noted that doing LSD was one of the two or three most important things he has done in his life. He even remarked that Bill Gates would be a broader guy if he had dropped acid once. So I wanted to see here Catherine MacLean and her colleagues at Johns Hopkins Medical School administered high dose of psilocybin to 52 people aged 46 on average who were not well acquainted with hallucinogens but were curious about their effects. The participants completed 2 to 5 8-hour sessions separated by at least 3 weeks. During the sessions, they either took psilocybin or a non hallucinogenic drug, lied down on a couch, put on an eye mask, and listened to music on headphones. They were instructed to focus on their inner experience. To minimize psychological damage, all participants received extensive initial screening to make sure they didn't have any prior mental disorders and received extensive support and guidance before, during, and after the sessions. All participants were followed up more than a year after the last session involving psilocybin. Participants showed a significant increase in openness to experience after taking the psilocybin, but showed no differences in neuroticism, extroversion, agreeableness, or conscientiousness. Yeah, I think. The dimensions of openness that increased were openness to fantasy, aesthetics, feelings, and ideas. Openness to values didn't budge as much as the others, I guess. 30 participants had a complete mystical experience, which consisted of scoring above 60% on the dimensions of unity, transcendence of time and space, ineffability and paradoxicality, sacredness, noetic quality, and positive mood. So, for these participants, openness to experience remained significantly higher than their baseline score more than 1 year after the sessions were over. The 22 patients who did not have a complete mystical experience showed no change over the long haul. Interestingly, mystical experiences were not related to initial levels of openness. And here we see openness usually decreases as one ages instead of showing an increase. And then obviously they state is not to promote the use of hallucinogens because it is illegal and it can be dangerous too. Obvious anything can be. So it's just important. I guess I would have thought openness to like ideology would have been more affected, but I guess that is just going to be
I think,
an independent factor
yeah, I
too.
think people, at least from how I personally feel, this isn't data based or anything, but I feel like it almost enhances my values more instead of making me more
Okay.
open to different values.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess that always brings the question to me though, which so did, I don't know. Cuz I mean this is just my thoughts on humans in general, but I just am still under the belief that our main factory setting, if you will, is kindness and openness. So like, I guess I would think that if you were to take a substance like a psychedelic, it would almost kind of not factory set you, but just help you get over biases in a way. But if it didn't show that they were open to moral changes, then their morals. So if someone has bad, like, but I'm not going to say anybody's morals are necessarily bad because I don't like using good or bad, like in this sense. But if I disagree with somebody's morals and then LSD or any psychedelic, psilocybin, whatever, were to just enhance their morals, would that just enhance their morals where we disagree though? Even so, like if I perceive those morals as bad, I'm not going
It
to
still
tell
said
them,
people were more open to new experiences, though. And I think
yeah,
with things like, let's say, like bigotry, for example, as moral value.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the openness to new experiences would kind of counteract that.
Okay. I mean, I would hope.
I mean, that's just my guess.
It's odd to me, for me to accept, hard for me to accept that bigotry can be a default setting. Just like I feel like it's a learned thing that can be unlearned, but if it's truly deep down somebody's, like, I just have a hard time believing that it is, but I'm not going to claim that it's not either.
Yeah.
But overall, I do think that it does help open you and open your mind to new experiences. And then that also just comes down to like the war on drugs, I would say, in
Yeah.
general. But, and also, it's, I would say, amazing to see some. I just want to look up Colorado's quick law that,
Okay.
so they decriminalized psychedelic mushrooms for people 21 and older, and to create state regulated healing centers where patients can experience the drug under supervision. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I just want to see if Oregon, I'm assuming they
They
kind
legalized
of
it,
do the
it said.
same. Oh, but they did. Oregon became the first state to decriminalize hard drugs like heroin and methamphetamine,
Yeah. Which is
and to legalize therapeutic use, yeah, of mushrooms.
interesting.
I just wanted to. So I'm assuming Oregon's is this. Yeah. So they can also set up. Well, hold on. So it looks like instead of going to try, so I think this is for all drugs for them. Instead of going to trial and facing possible jail time, a person would have the option of paying a $100 fine or attending new addiction recovery centers. So that's amazing,
Yeah,
I
that's
think.
awesome.
Oregon, and I mean, I'm not, every state can have different progressive policies. So I don't think we could claim any one state is leading the way to the. I think a lot of states have different ideals that are going to be very progressive and very helpful to a better future, is what I would say. Like a couple of different states are having very good bills being passed, I think, that are going to be shining examples, I would say, for other states to take note of.
Definitely. So, all right, I've got one more little clip of advice here. Um, I would, all right, times to not use psychedelics, okay? Do not use psychedelics if you're mentally in a bad place. This is going to lead you to have a worse trip. And do not use them if you're having stomach issues. The serotonin in your gut will interact poorly with the psychedelics, and you're probably going to get sick, like more sick. Also, space out the amount of time between uses, at least a month apart, in order to avoid compromising your immune system. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
I don't know if I have much else to add to that. I agree with that. So I think that's good. But you guys can just leave a comment below letting us know what you want us to talk about in future episodes.
You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And we also do some Twitch Live once in a while.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get notified when we do, because we'd love to see you there. But otherwise, we will see you next time.